Brendan, how much does it complicate things that the Red Sea, now we could see tensions there, the Houthis entering the conflict, of course, and that brings in the Red Sea. But the Red Sea wasn't deemed to be fully passable even before this war started, was it? So what difference does it make to the global sort of shipping narrative?
Yeah, well, it just adds to the overall cloud of uncertainty surrounding the ability to ship goods through the Red Sea, the Suez Canal. The Houthis, have harassed shipping since late 2023. They had kind of gone quiet for a while, and some of the container shipping lines were even talking about coming back through the Red Sea a couple of months ago. But of course, since the war started on February 28th, they've started going back around. So the big question is, to what extent will the Houthis start to affect the shipping lanes? Again, in the energy sector, we've seen the Saudis come up with this workaround to pipe their oil across to the west coast, to Jeddah, and try to export it that way. So the question is, will the Houthis try to prevent that energy supply from reaching markets overseas?
And while you've got so much disruption a month into this war, how's the port ecosystem holding up? Yeah,
it's a really complicated one. Number one, because the air cargo, marine cargo, and road cargo are all sort of tied together, and you've got restrictions in air cargo capacity still. There's still some airspace that's closed, and the carriers aren't running at full schedule. You've got Jebel Ali, the biggest port outside of Asia, that is operational, but there's no volumes flowing in and out of there because ships can't come and go, and so that's creating the opportunity there for the port operators to try to work with other ports in the region to get containers flowing from these other ports. But we saw over the weekend that a port in Oman was hit by a projectile, and Maersk said that was going to be out of commission for a couple of days. So you've got this kind of whack-a-mole situation going on where the workarounds are starting to become the targets, and some of those targets are increasingly becoming industrial assets. We saw the aluminum smelter get hit over the weekend. So the war is widening not only geographically but in segments of the economy.
Yeah, Maersk saying that impact of the incident is going to be limited, and Maersk shares actually up 1.5% this morning.
Yeah, which sometimes trades off the pricing, doesn't it? That longer route around Africa, if that's more likely, they charge higher prices, and then they make more money that way. Let me ask you about how this is widening to other commodities as well. So you've talked about how this is widening in terms of targets. We've gone from just targeting military to now industrial, and questions over energy, of course, with the truce on that front from President Trump getting an extension. But in terms of widening the commodities being affected, aluminium then is now in focus. Fertilizers, a lot of talk over the weekend about what this does to global supply chains for food. What are we looking at there, Brendan?
Exactly. So the companies that operate in the region have a certain amount of inventory that they can absorb, some weeks of a shock. But once those start to run out, and their operations there, whether they're distribution hubs or some sort of assembly that they're doing there, and once they run out of the inventory to keep their production going, they're going to have real problems, and they're going to call on the government authorities for help, and the sort of band-aids that they've put up to try to bring in cargo on the road are going to become ineffective, and they're going to need a lot more help. So it basically the signal is that this is going to widen beyond the region, the economic impact, the price of things that we wouldn't normally think would be associated with an energy crisis in the Middle East will start to go up as well.
Yeah, if you have higher aluminium prices, you'll get that hit to manufacturing, and then less manufacturing goods to go through, right? A vicious cycle. But just focusing on oil, we've got a fantastic feature today talking about how the oil shortage impact is going to spread from Asia here to the West. What's the implication of that for broader trade?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Well, everything kind of runs on fossil fuels. Shipping, the ships that move oil run on bunker fuel, and so it's all kind of snowballing in a way that's really going to go beyond the energy question. I heard a story yesterday about a ship that needed to offload onions from abroad into the UAE. Now you can imagine, you think onions, how big of a deal is that? But you can imagine a shipload of onions that doesn't get to where it needs to go, with the impact that would have on the the food service industry where those need to go. It's that kind of thing that we're going to hear more and more of.
Okay. Brendan, thank you for the colour. Brendan Murray, our trade czar there, for a look at the impact on trade and shipping.